Okay, Shabbat Shalom. So, a number of people wrote me last Friday, after reading the Houston Chronicle. There was an article about celebrating the winter holidays and how it's celebrated around the world, different customs, and they talked about Hanukkah in different countries, and the article made some mistakes. In fact, several mistakes about Hanukkah. But it's okay. I mean, actually, if I had tried to write an article about customs of Christmas, for instance, I'm sure I would have made a ton of mistakes. So it's understandable. The most obvious mistake they made was they talked about lighting a 7-branched lamp, which of course we know is supposed to be a 9-branched lamp. But before I talk about that mistake, I want to talk about the difference between lighting those candles and lighting the Hanukkah candles. That is the Shabbat candles over there and Hanukkah candles. So there's actually, we love to light fires. I'm actually somewhat of a pyromaniac. I love fires. Little fires, actually, not big fires. But anyway, so lots of kids do, right? I mean, that's part of the excitement of Hanukkah. You get to light the menorah, right? That's a big deal. So, okay, we light every week. We light these candles, but they're different from the Hanukkah candles in a number of ways. So let me explain what the differences are. So first of all, the reason we light these candles goes to it comes from an argument that the Jewish people had about 2,000 years ago. You know, we love to argue. And so the argument was that in the book of Exodus it says, you're not allowed to light a fire on Shabbat. So there was a group of pious Jews who said, okay, we can't light a fire on Shabbat. We are going to celebrate the Sabbath in the dark and eat cold food and stub our toes because we can't see where we're going, and we're going to enjoy and celebrate the Sabbath. And it'll also be cold inside in the wintertime. Then there was another group of Jews who said, doesn't sound like fun. And they said, you know, the Sabbath is supposed to be a delight. It says in the Torah it's supposed to be a delight. And it's not fun to sit in the dark and the cold, stub your toes, not see the people sitting next to you, and eat cold food. But we can't light a fire on the Shabbat, so what are we going to do? So now we put on the Jewish lawyer hat, and we say, okay, it says don't light the fire on Shabbat, but if I light the fire before Shabbat, right, then I can use the flame I've already lit. I'm not lighting it. I'm just using the flame for light and for heat, and I can keep my food warm, and I don't stub my toe, and it's warm inside, and I can enjoy the Sabbath in a nice warm house. So they won, thankfully. That's why we don't sit in the dark on Shabbat. And then they said, and we're going to make sure everybody follows our rule. So we are going to require everybody to light candles before the Shabbat comes in so that it's light in their house, so they can celebrate the Sabbath in joy and happiness. So they made it a requirement to light candles. And why 2? Because many people might want to light just one candle so they don't stub their toe, but it's not really bright and cheery. So they said 2 candles minimum so that it's bright and cheery in the home. You have to remember this is before electricity was invented. So we're going to light the candles. Now they had a problem. The problem is that normally we want to say the blessing before we do the act, right? You say Hamotzi lechem min haaretz and then you eat the bread. You say Bori pri ha'etz and then you eat the apple. So normally you'd want to say the blessing for the Shabbos candles and then light them. But the problem they said was once you say the blessing, it's like you said it's Shabbos already. And now you can't light the candles. So we had to put on our Jewish lawyer hat again. And they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to light the candles first. We're going to cover our eyes and pretend we don't see it. We're going to say the blessing. And then we're going to open our eyes and, oh, there's the candles. And that's why we do this, right? And cover our eyes when we say the blessing. One other thing about the Shabbos candles is how long do they burn? Because, you know, we're lawyers, right? So we have to define everything. How long do they have to burn? They should burn about 4 hours. So the average Shabbat candles you buy in the store last about 4 hours, and that way it lasts a leisurely amount of time so you can leisurely have dinner and company and celebrate and sing songs and have conversation, not have to worry about the lights going out, again, before electricity was invented. So the 4 hours was considered the minimum amount of Shabbat candle time. Okay, that's Shabbat candles. Now, let's talk about Hanukkah candles. They're completely different. So Hanukkah candles were lit for one reason and one reason only. And that is, as we say, persumet hanes in Hebrew, to advertise the miracle of the victory against the Syrian Greeks. And as the Talmud tells us, that the oil lasted for 8 days. So we're going to celebrate the miracle for 8 days. And we're just going to light candles to remind us of the miracle of Hanukkah. And they said they were not supposed to do anything else with those candles. So it's the exact opposite of these. We're supposed to use these for light, to enjoy and to celebrate whatever. The other ones are, again, before electricity was invented. The way you advertise something now with electricity is with neon signs. I don't know how long that's going to be still. It used to be there would be neon signs on the outside of buildings that would advertise what was inside the building, right? So these Hanukkah candles were supposed to advertise the miracle, like neon signs. They're just advertising a miracle. And you're not supposed to use them to read or to enjoy or to celebrate, whatever. It's just to promote the miracle of Hanukkah. And how long are they supposed to burn? Only half an hour. They only have to burn half an hour. So they're completely different. Now, what was the miracle with the oil? The oil was to light the 7-branch lamp that this thing over here represents. Also one over here if you're on this side of the room. So that represents the 7-branch lamp that was in the temple in Jerusalem. That's the lamp they lit. And the reason they did that was because the temple had been taken over by the Greeks. They put an idol of Zeus in the temple. They slaughtered pigs to this idol. That's what caused the revolt. We don't do pigs, and we don't do idols, right? So we said, you're messing with our religion, get out of our place. And so we had a big fight, and we succeeded in taking the idol out, and we dedicated the temple. And the first thing you do to show that you're now going to celebrate Jewishly is you light this menorah again. Now it's open for business for God, right? This is the symbol that it's open for God now. So, of course, that's the first thing they did, was to light this 7-branch lamp, which is why the article talked about a 7-branch lamp, because it was referring to the one in the temple, not the one we use for Hanukkah. So they lit this lamp. Now, we use a 9-branch lamp because it's an 8-day holiday, as you all know. We light one extra candle every night for 8 nights, but we have a 9th candle. What is a 9th candle for? So we call it the shamash because we use it to light the other 8. But the main reason it's there is so that you don't use the other 8 for light. Because again, we put on our lawyer hats. Are you with me so far? We put on our lawyer hats and we said, you know what, we can't use those lights for reading. But if those are the only candles in the house, what are we going to do? So we light a 9th one, and now you're using the 9th one for light to read. And if the other 8 happen to mix in, well, you know, not your fault. We're a group of lawyers here. So the 9th one is so that we can use it for light, so that we don't use the other 8. And that's why it's a 9-branched lamp. Now, the symbol of light means wisdom, right? Torah. It means God's presence in our lives. The 7 branches remind us of God's creation in 7 days and resting on the Sabbath. So all these symbols of light also apply to the Hanukkah lamp, which is to remind us of the 7-branch lamp. God's presence in our lives, God's presence in the Jewish miracle of Jewish life today. 2,200 years after the story of Hanukkah, we're still here. That's pretty miraculous. And so all of these things are tied up with the light of the menorah that we celebrate with Hanukkah. But because we're not supposed to use those 8 lights, there was a special prayer that we recite when we light the candles, and that's called Hanerot Halalu, which is now what our cantor is going to sing. And it's in the pew folders there with the English translation. And now this translation will make sense to you because it says we're not supposed to use these lights for anything except to advertise the miracle.
הנרות הללו אנחנו מדליקים על הניסים ועל התשובות ועל הנפלאות. הנרות הללו הניסים ועל התשובות ועל הנפלאות שעשית לאבותינו על ידי כהניך הקדושים. הנרות הללו אנחנו מדליקים על הניסים ועל התשובות ועל הנפלאות. הנרות הללו אנחנו מדליקים על הניסים ועל התשובות ועל הנפלאות. וכל 8 ימי חנוכה הנרות הללו קודש הם, ואין לנו רשות להשתמש בהם אלא לראותם בלבד כדי להודות לשמך הגדול. על ניסיך ועל ישועתך ועל נפלאותיך הנרות הללו אנחנו מדליקים על הניסים ועל התשובות ועל הנפלאות. הנרות הללו אנחנו מדליקים על הניסים ועל התשובות ועל הנפלאות.